2024 is just around the corner, and we want to keep the momentum going with our personal finance. And if we have not started yet, we want to begin the process. Welcome back to another episode of the MD Investor, the channel where we talk personal finance. Let's go. So we're very close to 2024, and it's the start of a brand new year. And whenever there's the start of a brand new year, we want to hit the ground running. So how do you want to go into 2024? Personal finance speaking, right? In terms of getting your money right. How do you want to enter into 2024? Well, a good way to enter 2024 is stop, start, and continue. Stop doing all the stupid stuff with your money. Continue doing the good stuff that was working, and start doing some great stuff that you weren't doing. Stop, start, continue. So I'm going to give you 5 things to consider entering into 2024 to get your money right. So the first thing you have to consider in terms of getting your money right going into 2024 is you have to get angry. You have to get mad. Not mad that you're going to hurt anybody, but mad at the system, mad at the condition you're in, mad at the fact that you are working so hard for somebody else and you're not reaping much of the benefits. Mad at the system that you tell you have to work until you're 65. Mad at the fact that you don't have enough time to spend with your kids and doing the stuff that you want to do and working when you want to work and vacation when you want to vacation, and you got to ask some grown man or grown woman, can I have time off? You should be mad at that system, right? You should be mad at that system. A lot of times things don't get done unless people get upset. The analogy I'm going to use is the Montgomery bus boycott. The first thing you have to do is get mad. Rosa Parks went on the bus, and I know she was the face of the. I know she was the face of the boycott, but other people were. I know she was the face of the boycott, but other people suffered the same treatment. Working all day, tired, can't sit in the bus. You have to get up because a white person is there. The first thing you have to do is get mad. You have to get angry at the system that, in the financial sense, allows you to work all your life and you have nothing to show for it. Have no assets to have no assets to hand over your children. Spending all your money on rent and have no equity in that building. You have to be mad at the system, mad at the fact that you were miseducated, right? So in the case of the Montgomery bus boycott, the first thing they had to do, they got sick and tired of the way they were being treated. So the second thing that you have to do after you get upset is you have to channel that anger. You can't be angry without channeling that anger into a positive way. So in the case of the Montgomery bus boycott, they didn't go out there and start burning down, white people's houses and blowing up the police station. No, they said, we're going to have a strategy. We're going to have a strategy. So they channel that anger. That how can we bring the bus company to its knees so they can give us our demands? We got to have a strategy. So in case of our personal financial journey, we have to take stock. Taking stock means we have to begin to know our numbers. What is my income? What are my expenses? Right? The difference between your income and your expenses is going to be your cash flow. Your cash flow is the money that you can use to pay down your debt. Invest, right? How much debt do I have? What are the interest rates on my debt? Okay? What kind of assets do I have? What kind of liabilities do I have? And the difference between the assets and liabilities, your net worth. So we have to begin to take stock of where we are right now. Some of us may not be happy where we are right now. That's all right. It's good because that's part of the reason why you're angry. You're angry because you're here and you would like to be there, but you're going to channel that anger. But before you know where you're going, You have to know, where am I right now? So now, the third thing we have to consider on our New Year's money journey is to write down our goals, right? Write our goals down, right? Because in step 2, we already know where we are. So write down our goals in terms of savings, in terms of investing, in terms of paying down debt, right? You may have a goal to save $2,000 in 2024 for your emergency fund. You may have a goal of paying down all of your credit card debts. You may have a goal of paying down $10,000 worth of credit card debts, right? So write the goal down, because when you write it down, you're more likely to begin to move on it, because now it's becoming more real. Write down your goal, okay? So just remember, guys, these are some of the steps that we have to take in terms of getting our money right. And now going back to the Montgomery Bus boycott, after they got angry in step 1, then they channeled that anger, right? The ultimate outcome that they wanted was they wanted to be able to be treated like everybody else, all the other customers and riders on the bus. But they had to channel that anger, right? That anger was channeled into the Montgomery Bus boycott. If you continue to give them your money and they treat you like garbage, why should they stop? So that anger was channeled. And the third thing we said is to write down the goals. I'm sure the organizers, Martin Luther King and everybody else, they wrote down the goals, right? We want to be able to sit like everybody else. We want to be treated like everybody else on the bus. And they wrote down the goals. And let me add, for these goals, whether it's saving, paying down debt, or investing, you want them to be SMART goals, okay? SMART. You want to be very specific. I want to be credit card debt free by the end of 2024. I want to save $10,000 in my emergency fund. I want to pay an extra $500 per month to my mortgage. Whatever it is, but you want it to be specific. M, you want it to be measurable. You want it to be something that you can measure and see how you're progressing. Okay? You want to save $10,000 to your emergency fund, and now you have to save $5,000 by June. You know you're halfway there. You can measure it. You want your goals to be achievable or attainable. You're making $50,000 a year, and your goal is to save $100,000 a year. And if you're earning $50,000 a year, your goal can't be, I want to invest $100,000 a year. Your goal can't be, I want to invest $100,000 in 2024. That's double what you're making. That's like, right? So you want it to be achievable. You want it to be relevant. Like it matters, right? Paying down debt matters. Investing matters. Paying off your credit card debt matters. Like these are stuff that is relevant, and you want it to be time bound. You want it to be time bound. You don't want it to be where I can just tiptoe and casually moving, and there's no time deadline. The reason why people move in a certain way is because of time deadline. The reason why you study more coming up to the exam date is because the exam date is set, right? The reason why people who are down in a basketball game in the fourth quarter, why they're scrambling and they're double teaming and they're really working, because they know that the clock is running out. Having something that's time bound gives you a sense of urgency, a sense to move. You'll see that sometimes even in school, right? You know that there's a test coming up in 3 months. You do nothing. The last 3 weeks, you do most of the work because of the time sensitivity. Number 4. Now, the fourth thing you want to consider on your way to your 2024 financial goals is to have a strategy. Yeah, you got to have a strategy. Consider the Montgomery Bus boycott. Yeah, ultimately they want to be treated like everybody else, but they got to have a strategy. The bus company is not going to just all of a sudden start treating you like everybody else when they've been treating you like garbage and you've been paid the same. No, the strategy was, we are going to make them bleed, financially speaking. we're going to put them out of business. They're going to have two choices. Either they're going to go out of business and go bankrupt, or they're going to treat us, or they're going to comply with our demands and treat us like human beings. And the strategy was to stop riding the bus. Everybody, all the black people, stop riding the bus. That was the strategy. Stop riding the bus. You got to go to work. You're not riding the bus. None of us are going to ride the bus. And they're going to realize how much money they got from us that they took for granted and treated us like garbage. Stop riding the bus. That was a strategy, an excellent strategy. Stop riding the bus. Stop giving them your money. Same way we got to have a strategy. Your strategy was to save $10,000 in the emergency fund. How are you going to do it? It's okay, well, I'm going to do $800 out of every paycheck, right? That's how you do it. I am going to stop going out to the restaurant that often. So you got to have a strategy. So you got to have a strategy to achieve your financial goals for 2024. So if your strategy, maybe you want to earn $100 a month in dividends, $250 a month in dividends, then you're going to start to build up your dividend position. Then you're going to start to build up your position in your ETFs or your individual stocks that pay dividends to give you these results. It's not going to be magic. You're not going to go from $0 per month in dividends to $100 a month in dividends unless you are executing on the strategy, right? So we've done videos on different ETFs and how much they pay and the dividend growth rate and reinvesting dividend. So you're going to execute on the strategy. And the fifth thing you have to consider too is a plan to make sure that you stay on track. Yeah, you got to have a plan to make sure you stay on track. It's fine in late December or early January to say, oh, yes, I'm going to do this. And by the time March comes around, what have you done? Nothing. Same thing goes with the gym. The gyms are full in January, but because they don't have a plan to continue after the new year, it just falls by the wayside. So you got to have a plan to make sure you stay on track. So your plan could be the end of every month, the last Saturday of the month, we are going to review our progress. You want to save $2,000 for your emergency fund? Where are we now at the end of January? Where are we now? We're at zero. We need to make adjustments because we are not making any progress. Or we're right on track, great. Or we're ahead of track, whatever. But you need a plan to make sure that you stay on track. You're very motivated in January, that it's a brand new year and stuff. But comes April, March, probably even before that, February, the motivation wanes. And you need a system to keep you on track. That's what businesses do, right? They have the end of Q1. But before they get to the end of the first quarter, which is March 30th, they probably have other meetings leading up to it to see how are they progressing on their goals for the first quarter. That's before the end of the second quarter. So we got to have that mentality to treat our finances like business. Okay, guys? You got to have a plan to stay on track. And going back to that Montgomery boycott, I'm sure they were evaluating how they were evaluating how they were progressing, I'm sure, on a regular timeline, whether it's every week, every month. They would have watchers at the bus stop to make sure that no black people was getting on the bus. And when if people were complaining, saying, "Listen, I work 4, 5, 6, 7 miles. I need to take the bus," they would arrange carpools to solve that problem. So people live in the same area, you will all get together and they will drive. I'll drop you off, you drive. That's how they had a plan to make sure they stayed on track. The ultimate goal was to make sure that bus company treats them with dignity and respect. And the strategy was to boycott, but they had to make sure that their plan did not fail because they were not 100% corporation. So they had the carpool. And I'm sure they were checking the bus stops on a regular basis to make sure that there was no black person going to the bus, and to make sure that bus was empty of any black people. That's how the strategy is working. So likewise, we need to have these strategies in place. Okay. So number one, you got to get angry at the way the system is. You deserve better. I deserve better. We deserve better. Number two, that anger has to be channeled, right? It got to be channeled in the right direction, not destructive anger, but constructive anger. We're looking at our numbers, such as the income and expenses and cash flow and assets and liabilities, and looking at our net worth. And we're just looking and see, where are we? Looking at our debt, look at the interest rates, how much we're paying, and it's looking at how they're taking advantage of us. Number three, we're going to write down our goals for saving and investing and paying off debt. And we're making sure they're smart goals. They're specific and measurable and attainable, and they're relevant and they're time bound. And number four, make sure we have a strategy to achieve these goals. And number five, make sure we have a plan to make sure that our strategy stays on track and we can make it, whether it's every end of every month, every week, every quarter, whatever. But we have to have a strategy in which we check to make sure our plan stays on track. Hope you got something out of it, guys. If there's people out there you think could benefit, let them know about the channel, MD Investor, where we increase our personal financial IQ, teach our children so we can break the cycle of generational poverty. MD Investor out.